Yes, indeed, it is our turn. Thank you so much for that wonderful disclaimer, Lisa, which allows me to say whatever the fuck I want. Anyway, nothing like getting off to a fiery start. That's just the way it is, though. Anyway, a little shout out to Northern Ireland there. Got a few people, of course, lots of friends and whatnot. It's always nice to hear from them. Hello, Rebecca. What about you? Anyway, it's going to be a laid-back kind of show tonight. Better be. Yeah, we got Tony on the board here, and we have another radio host, friend of mine, Michael Cooley from Toxic Reality Radio out of I believe California. Michael, yes.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah, got you loud and clear, my friend. Good to have you on. And Tony, if we got you.
Absolutely. Yeah, live and kicking still.
There we go. So we're gonna have a little fireside chat tonight, and let's get into some solutions. But dealing with far more drama in the last few days than I care to deal with, but that's just because the way this game is. And boy, have we got energies flying around these days.
Yeah.
Yeah. But again, it's be mindful of it. We just came out of a Scorpio moon. We're now in a nice little Sagittarius moon. And what do we got? We got Venus lining up, so there's tons of love around Venus and Aries right now. So, yeah, all the critical stuff. Of course, I'm definitely not the expert to talk to in this regards. You need to talk to people like Sato or Mary or Cole or Jeanette. So many far more and better versed than I in this. But it's wonderful learning because, you can start to spot the people with Mars and Leo. That's kind of a private joke now, apparently, but there you go. Yeah, well, give me your chart. I see Mars and Leo. We're going to have a chat. I'll tell you that much. Anyway. No, Santo's got that. We've talked about that one a fair bit, and it's just that beautiful fire, and of course Mars being action and whatnot. So, but yeah, what do you guys want to start off with tonight? It's wide open. Again, it's a call-in for everybody. Always a shout-out to bring everyone to the table. This is kind of like a fireside sit-around with the crew on Critical Mass Radio here. So you can call in at 661-467-2401. And, of course, if you want to Skype in, you can do that as well. There's a little Skype button on your page. Sometimes you have to refresh the show page to see it, but it's there as an option as well. So feel free, Anyway, so there you go. That's the information out for everybody else. And where do you guys want to go?
Well, thank you first, and I wanted to say thanks for having my chart read.
Yeah, that was good,
Contest. That was excellent, yeah. I become more aware of who I am. Isn't that cool?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And that's the thing too, because we all have a roadmap, and this truth that has been hidden from us for countless millennia, it's your star map. That is your name, your way. Most people don't understand that etymologically the word name means way, and there's so many other layers to it. It's the not me, the name, and of course, you look name in Black's Law, and you're basically chattel. It comes under Scottish history law and stuff like that. So the layers are many, up to 7 even. Little joke there. And once you start seeing, how the layers work and how everything sort of starts to, synchronistically intertwine with everything, boy, I tell you, it's a whole different confidence game, and it's not. We're not talking a con game like the system has on us. The biggest con was keeping us from knowing who we were, and well,
exactly. You were alluding to earlier, Kate, about how difficult it is to, if you want to use the word persuade or let people in on, what's actually the truth. It's very hard. It's frustrating. People tend to. We talked about it before a little bit, but
yeah,
we know what I found, that if we all have this incredible talent within ourselves. Once we do know and we do awake, find that like when people really don't understand all of it, the best thing to do is tap into what they like, what interests them. What talent do they have? What's their hobbies? And then just plant those little seeds inside of it. Because really people are, like when I tried to explain this to my wife last year, she just literally just blocked me out. And You know, it was just, I don't want to hear it. You know, it's just, they just can't absorb it.
Well, exactly, and this is a perfect subject to cover in a much more gentle way, because you know, you're absolutely right, and we had a good chat about this earlier. One of the things that I discovered, and a lot of people that I've talked to that have had the same, you know, issue, trying to, you know, you get this beautiful awakening happening in you, and you get excited and you go, oh my God, look at this, right? And you start pointing out the Rothschild banking scam, all wars are bankers' wars, and you start looking at, you know, the religion side of things and how badly duped the people have been there, been steered away from the perfect truths that I saw a really good. Here I'm going to see if I can find it. This perfect April Fool's listing of. I can't remember which room it was in. It might have been the Astor room because it's been a hoot in there today. Oh my God! But yeah, you know, I think that would be a great way to spend an evening. You know, we'll talk about the things that we run into with regards to other people and why you shouldn't make it your business to go around slapping people upside the head, because all you're going to do is make enemies. You're going to and you're stepping on free will choice. It's not that you don't want to wake people up. I mean, it hurts, you know, especially you know, with wives and children and husbands and brothers and sisters and aunts and uncles and all the rest of it. It really hurts because you know something isn't right, and you know the lights turn on, and you want to share, but no,
and you want to help them.
Absolutely, you know, and it breaks your heart a lot of times because you know, as I was talking about on Saturday night with regards to my lesson with rescue diving, the lesson was, you know, don't try to save someone that doesn't want saved because it'll end up killing you, and it was literally taken to that level of, you know, your life on the line. And I mean, the guys that were doing the training, they were told take them within an inch of their lives so they experience what it feels like to almost drown. They gotta get it.
Yeah.
And oh boy, I got it. Dummy me went back for a second dose, you know. But that's the passion, and this is exactly the same thing we're dealing with, and we keep going back to the same people. And what happens? We get our hope dashed. We get, ostracized, alienated, and of course, once the system figures out that you're awake, you become the virus. You know.
Oh, the enemy. I lost a very high-profile position over it.
No doubt.
Yeah, when I was going through my awakening, and again, you know, I mean, that's the phrase we use, but it changes you. It changes your behavior. It changes the way everything you thought you knew or, you know, looked at and was one way is now another. And the corporate world doesn't really like that way of thinking, I found out. So
no, they certainly do not. Tony, jump in here, my friend.
Yeah, I was just saying, absolutely. That's part of the thing, because once you suddenly figure out, the good guy from the bad guy type thing, it's like, holy shit, I'd never have guessed. But then when you look back, you think, well, of course I should have fucking guessed. I just have been under hypnosis, basically.
Well, at least they're not taking us out and, you know, hanging us and killing us and, you know, torturing. I mean, you know, in a way they are, but, you know, I mean, there was a time when if you thought this way, then, you know, okay, come with me. You know, you're
exactly.
You're done. You know,
well, I found the April Fools, and that someone had posted. Saraf had posted this. Someone had shared it in one of the groups I'm in here, and this is beautiful. April Fools. So now pay attention. Have a giggle, right? Your government is real and is there to help. Your bank has your best interest at heart, and your currency has real value. Your schools are designed to help you grow as a person and actually help you become financially free. Your legal system is real and seeks real justice, and cops pull you over only when you have done someone or their property harm. Your pharmaceutical industry and medical industry is designed to cure you of what ails you, and your religions are designed to bring all humans to oneness with no separation from the source. April Fools. Now, back to your regularly scheduled programming.
That's a good one.
You know, but I mean, I guarantee you show that to anyone that's, you know, quote, sleepy. and one of them is going to resonate with them without question. And that's what it takes, you know. If you're going to try to awaken people, crack a joke. I mean, Bill Hicks and George Carlin had it masterfully, where they had crowds of people laughing at themselves.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
yeah, that's an excellent point there.
You know, make it fun. You know, hey, listen, if you're going to piss them off, you might as well give them a giggle, right?
Yeah, use the things that are universal within us, like, you know, the music or, you know, comedy and stuff that enlightens people, you know. I mean, in today's world, we just get hammered enough by, we still have to function in this fictional world around us,
yes.
You know, that we have been woken up to, and we still have to play in it. We still have to live, you know, we still have to abide by things that just really, you know, tighten the noose around us, but that's the most difficult challenge for me. It's just like, I feel like I'm living. I know now. I realize what a lot of my gay and lesbian friends went through when they said, you know, I can't come out. I can't. You know, I've still got to. You know, I know what the burden they were carrying now, because that's what it feels like.
Yeah.
You know, you've got all this stuff in the closet, and you can't. You know, whether it be family or just, you know, public function, you got it. It's almost like you have to pretend. You know, I'll pretend I'm one of them for a while, and then go back to my, you know,
until you can't take it anymore. I lived that nightmare, and it got to the breaking point where it's like, I can't do this anymore. I cannot live this lie. And this is what happens in the awakening, and it's so wonderfully synchronistic how all of these things. Beautiful point, by the way, Michael. That's a great analogy, because literally it's like, you know, you have to start something like Truth's Anonymous, and hi, I'm Kate, I'm the truther, you know, addicted to the truth kind of thing, right? And we laugh at it, but see, there's the truth coming out. You are so ostracized in community, but here's the good news, and the solutions are already coming to light. More and more people I'm hearing from that are saying, you know, it's my brother or my sister or so-and-so just came up to me, and they were the ones that were the most adamant about, you know, me being wrong about, you know, truth and stuff. Oh, it's just your imagination. And then all of a sudden they're clicking. That's the consciousness finally seeping in. Those are the seeds you were talking about.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Sometimes you could see it. You can see it, too, and it's like, you know, when you know that's happening with them, you know. And being an Aries, I'm a fellow Aries like Santos, and there's sometimes when I just feel the need to be sarcastic, you know, or only around people that know me. And I just like to throw things in there, you know, like you mentioned the 12 steps, and then if someone would have said that, I would have said, 12, there's that number. You want to know more about that number? And wow. They just kind of look at me, you know, and they're like, well, yeah, and then I'll go on with something. But I don't dwell in it. You know, I know when to kind of ease up and just kind of play around and do, you know, just get their mind to thinking. It works for some, but others are just, you know, it is frustrating when you get the ones that are just totally clammed up, totally indoctrinated. They're just totally, you know, that's the problem. See, we face now with those that are too indoctrinated and too, you know, they've spent most of their entire life. I always say anybody generally, you know, older than 60 these days are probably just, they may be awake to something. They may have been awake for a long time, but they're just too indoctrinated to ever, you know, live that way of life.
Yeah, and the other side of it too is when people get to a certain age, you know, there's not really much they can do except wake up, you know. So we have a caller, so let's bring them in and see if they have any questions or comments. And actually, we can talk a little bit about some experiences. Oh, by the way, you mentioned sarcasm. That for me is the most perfect tool to wake people up, because as soon as you can toss something at them, 9/11. What happened on 9/11?
Yeah.
You know, and then they look at you like you were asleep, right? So anyway, it's mirror time, right? So area code 317.
Thanks for having me on. I love your comments. And that sarcasm tool, a friend of mine shared that with me. She told me, Kathy, you're trying to sell the sizzle. I mean, the whole steak. You need to sell the sizzle and ask them questions. And that gets them to thinking. Because if you try to give them too much information at once, their eyes glaze over and they shut you out. Mm-hmm. And it's in all different... reading is my avocation, because I noticed most folks say a lot of things, they don't really mean them. And so reading was, by the way, y'all were picking on me. I'm 59 and I've been wide awake for a very long time. People have been telling me to shut up for a very long time. That don't work so good on me.
I love it. You know, and it's so true, you know. A little bit of sarcasm goes a long way, and again, it's about planting the seeds. And I like calling, what I do, I like calling it the cookie jar effect. You know, first, you know, you tell a kid they can't have a cookie out of the cookie jar, and where's the first place they go? To the cookie jar. So I just tell them they can't have it. It says, well, I could tell you the truth, but then, you know, I'd have to kill you, you know? that kind of thing, you know?
Humor is definitely effective, and I love Bill Hicks and George Carlin. I love both of them.
Oh,
they told it like it was.
Absolutely. And another one, I love using the anti-ego approach as well. I said, you wouldn't get it. Don't worry about it. Give me another beer, will you? You know,
make
that
them
kind
thirst for it.
You know, and walk away. This is another aspect of walking away. It's just, I really love you as a friend, and if I actually told you what I thought, we wouldn't be friends for long because you probably wouldn't get what I was trying to say. But anyway, you want another beer? Keep changing the subject. Keep walking away. This is the thing. Most of these horses that you're trying to lead to water don't even know they're thirsty.
Right.
Oh, no. It's called Christ consciousness. It's implanted in our hearts at birth. And most people they talk the talk, they don't walk the walk. You know. But in each and every religion, my family, she met this native healer. He's Apache. And he's world famous. And he paints, and he can't even see. And he was telling her most religions have been co-opted at the top, which is the truth. And who wrote the love of money is the root of all evil? You know, to every kernel of truth, every myth, there's a kernel of truth in it. And that's why it keeps getting passed out, word of mouth. Are you guys still there?
Yeah, we're listening. You know, we're totally enthralled. A couple of shout-outs here as well. Yeah, because we have at least 3 listeners every show. Yeah,
That's my granddaughter. Really
there you go.
Let me call you back.
No worries. Big shout out to Donna, and how you doing out in Derry? You see, those of us that are Irish, and of course I was raised, pro-British and whatnot. The city of Londonderry. You can always tell who's who when someone says, "Well, where are you from?" Londonderry. Oh, and you ask someone else, and they go, "Well, I'm from Derry." Right. So but how you pronounce the city or how you call the city will tell you which side of the quote fence someone's on. So it's kind of fun. So here's a British raised orange prod saying, "How's Derry doing tonight?" There you go. Hopefully that'll put a smile on Donna's face. It's kind of funny. It was one of the few times I never got to was Derry. So next time I get over, I'll definitely have a run and go hang out with Donna and the crew up there. That should be a lot of fun. But again, getting back to it with approaching people. For me, a lot of it is how you approach it. You can try to ram this, and a lot of people do. You can try to ram this down someone's throat, or you can try to insist that, society is like this and society is like that and that. It says, well, that's very judgmental, and I won't say that. What I will say is what I'm observing from the people I see is, some are ready for this, some aren't, and some will never get it. As far as but that's never say never, right? So. You still have to catch yourself in not passing that judgment, and it's so very easy for us to do, because a lot of us have been through the emotional mill of. For me, it was about 2.5 years ago. I had this overwhelming sense of loss, realizing that not everyone, quote, is going to be saved, unquote, as far as awakening, but not everyone's meant to. All things for a reason, and I'm kind of good with the whole creator design thing, so I'm just sort of, okay, where am I going next? And I got in the boat of life, and here I am.
I agree. Another thing, too, when I was going through all of my tribulations on this, it really affected me hard, and there was times when I just had moments to myself just in complete depression. it seemed like. And I thought to myself, you know what? If it all ended now and everybody left me and I just, lost everything, at least I would die on this planet knowing the real truth, knowing who I am, knowing where I come. And that was satisfying enough to me, and I wiped the tears away and I said, I can go on now. You know, I can go on to do the things I'm here meant to do, on the planet, which is far more important than if somebody gets it or if they don't, or if they're just not ready, or they don't have the software running in their brain yet to be able to download certain, because you can't spend the time on it, really.
You can't.
I mean, you can't. It'll destroy you. And like you said about the drowning effect, it'll just take you down, suck you down, and it'll just,
Well, you hit the magic note right there, that beautiful C note of love. When you have that realization that regardless of everything else around you, you found the mirror of saying truth is the only thing that matters to you, and the fact that you stand in it, that's the mirror. And there's your beautiful, untouchable guardian that once you stand in that circle, you're untouchable. And I mean that on every level. The ether and whatnot, they'll pick away at you and, bang away at the Skype and, I mean, look at the level of influence that those principalities are running, are doing. Cutting out Skype. Oh, big, powerful beings you are,
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? So, and I'm sure you've walked the fear path as well, I always like going back to the analogy of my lifestyle is, taking those little baby steps, things that you can get away with and think, well, nobody's looking, and then finally you get past that baby step. I know baby steps like very, very few others, and then it's like being a musician. And I remember in 1992 when I got my left ear pierced. That was a very magical moment for me, And I'm thinking, okay, how am I going to figure out? And it took years to get my other one pierced, but that's what I'm saying. Those are the baby steps, and that's what people have got to focus on. Find that one little thing that that, quote, you can get away with, unquote, that you can be comfortable with. Don't dive in, head first. Because chances are the pool might not have enough water in it, and you'll end up cracking your skull on the bottom. Take your time, test the waters for yourself. If you're approaching other people or, sitting in groups, one of the things I found most effective with me, and this will probably sound odd, I was always very quiet. I always listened to what was going on around me, and you wait for that one. You'll know that where the group is agreeing on something, and that's the moment to come in, because now you're all on the same table and you get that beautiful resonance, and then you just plant a seed or two and let it go from there. Again, without forcing the hand, it's allowing people, or granting of beingness. It's allowing them to be ignorant or to be incredibly awakened, without passing judgment on it. And I think this was one of the things that we ran into on Saturday night in particular. And it's not about putting labels on people. It's not about, just because you say a trigger word, and there are trigger words, things like Christians, Muslims, Jews, all the rest. Those are very serious, very deeply ingrained programs that are running, deliberately so, and they're strong triggers. And if there's anything where people are still attached to it, for people, that's a very difficult thing to let go. I know I had to.
Yeah, it is. I mean, they are very good. The intellects, the philosophers out here that have been, functioning just fine and very intelligent, but they're having a hard time adjusting to all of this because they still have a lot of those old school tactics and ways and expressions, and and you can see it. When they're coming in, and God bless them, because they're into it. They want to, awaken others and discuss all of the things that involves, everything about it. But for some of them, they still tend to carry around all that indoctrination. It's hard to change with them because it makes up who they are. We've been swindled for so long. Our being is almost of their world. So we've broken from that. It's deep, I know. Sorry.
Yeah. I'm just I'm just looking at something on your site at the moment, and it's when people walk away from you, let them go. And destiny is never tied to anyone who leaves you, and it doesn't mean that they are bad people. It just means that their part in your story is over. Interesting.
Exactly, Tony. You know all those old cliches, those childhood.
Beautiful. Yeah, that's cliches. I live in cliches.
Oh, well, they all make sense now. I mean, the childhood one we grew up with the things like, if you can do anything if you set your mind to it, and, learn to love yourself before you love it. All those little things now have exquisite meaning.
And that's the best word for it, and they are exquisite, Yeah, those old wives' tales and the little anecdotes we had and the little short sayings, when you start seeing the truth, boy, the layers peel off in a rapid fashion, and those are truisms to a level that just boggled me when they, wow,
Because they were here forever, probably. We just,
finally
got them
woke
in
up to
nursery
them.
rhymes. Yeah, they've just always been part of who we were. And
oh, and we have Kathy just popped back, so I guess the other call's over. But I was going to say with Tony there, look at the paradigms. I'll get him to comment on this, but look at the paradigms that we're dealing in with regards to what we think is real in terms of how this planet works and energy and what's required, what's necessary, and what has been kept hidden from us that is finally coming into view.
It just so happens tonight I connected with one guy, just totally, nothing's random, so let's get rid of that one for a start. But I connected with one guy who's found some Tesla information. And there's a book that was published in 1919 with, in fact, I can give you the correct details if I can get back to my site. Give us a couple of seconds. But yeah, it was published in 1919, and the author is stop jumping around, you little shit. William Lyne, Lyne, and it says since 1919, Nikola Tesla's electro-propulsive discoveries have been concealed by the government. Suppression, theft, and ridicule, while science has become a pseudo-scientific mathematical shell game which bears little new fruit and less resemblance to reality. And it goes on and on and on. So yeah, it just gives you an example. I mean, this is old shit, but we've just been fooled to pretend, they fooled us into thinking it didn't exist. And Tesla's original version was in his 1870s student days. The first version of this electrogravitic flying machine in 1870.
Yeah, and they make a big deal out of the Wright brothers. No harm to them. I mean, the heavier than air thing, but boy, is it any wonder why they put all the focus and history on that and not on Tesla stuff. 1870. Look, guys, we're talking 140, almost 150 years ago. This technology was there. No, they haven't been duping us at all. Seriously.
All for profit and greed.
Yeah, absolutely. Just to keep the energy companies in place. And that's something I was thinking about today. In fact, I had two revelations today. Well, they weren't really revelations. They were just, shit, this is so obvious. You couldn't make it up. There's a famous picture, if anybody knows of Nikola Tesla. Right, there's a picture of him sitting under his Tesla tower. Sorry, sitting under one of his Tesla coils, and there's lightning, what appears to be coming off this thing and striking the floor all over the place. And he's sitting under there reading a book. Do you know the picture I'm talking about? It's famous.
I know the one you're speaking of, yes.
Yeah. Right, well, if there was lightning coming out of a cloud all around you, would you be sitting there reading a book? No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't be that stupid. Because Tesla knew the lightning wasn't coming out of his coil. It was being collected by the coil going into it. It wasn't the other way around. And when you look at the patterns of the lightning, you can see it's an energy collector, and it's working on ambient air temperature. It's pulling in energy from the surroundings, not pushing it out like lightning. It's obvious. He's sitting there reading a sodding book under it. It's like, oh my God.
Yeah, mirror, mirror, huh?
Exactly. It's the opposite to what you think it was. It wasn't transmitting electricity, it was downloading electricity from the area around it. And when you think about it, that's exactly how atmosphere works. The sun throws the energy across the solar system. It gets caught into our atmosphere, ionosphere, stratosphere, and it warms up the air. So therefore the air isn't absolute zero. It's got warmth in it because it's constantly being bathed in fresh energy from the sun. And that's what Tesla was doing. He was downloading that fresh energy stored in air temperature and turning it back or turning it into electricity. It's so simple, isn't it?
Very simple.
It's all around us, everywhere.
It's everywhere.
Exactly. And actually, Michael, one of the other reasons why I wanted you on tonight is to hear a little bit about what you've been doing, about your radio station, because this is all about, we do this together. And this is for me the most important thing, is connecting all. Speaking of electricity and the flow of energy, it's about getting all these PowerPoints that allow for platforms for speaking and for people to show up and talk and be part of it. We have to do this together. You cannot have there's a radio host and they're over there. No, you're over here. You're at my table with me, and so a little bit about what you do.
And I will break the bread with you, brother, at your table and drink of the wine. And I was referring to the other night show. Anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, Toxic Reality Radio. That's we were up and going pretty strong about a year ago, and my good friend Adam, which is his Facebook is I Am Pharaoh. He founded Toxic Reality Radio. It's based in Los Angeles. But we went through some turbulence there. The site completely vanished on us. It just, I don't know, for whatever reason, we still don't know. And that set us back. And then personal life stuff, as you know, gets kind of, in the way. So we kind of put everything on hold, and we said, we'll try this again. We still jump on from time to time. We'll be on later tonight, but nothing with the format that we had before, but we like it the way it is now. We kind of, we're bringing other shows to light, and we're bringing other people, what you just, spoke about. It's all one big family and group. There's so many radio shows now, and there's so many separate little compartments and departments of things, and people jump around and stuff, but it's a collective thought, that everybody should share in. And I agree. It's, we need to have just
it's the old paradigm of competition that we have to absolutely nullify, because
I hate that.
It is. It's so do I. There's nothing more destructive than competition, and our whole society has been keyed on it. You got to get the gold. You got to get this. You got to get that.
Don't mention their name, and don't. That's the competitor, and we don't. And then they get into that turbulence about you've got so and so over there, and I don't like them, and because of that I don't and it just gets back into the old squabbles and the old kindergarten behavior stuff.
Yeah.
And
it's time to get out of that. So I'm actually scrolling down here on my list. I met up with Diana White last night with the show that Santa was on. Mm-hmm. Of course, when I try to listen on my Blog Talk player, it's more to do with I've got Internet Explorer, right? And I hate it, but it's the only one that works on this computer, or you want to call it that. It's a notebook. But when I try using the Blog Talk player to listen, it always cuts out, So generally, what I do is I'll just Skype in and sit and listen, right? Sometimes I get pulled in as a caller or whatever, but most times I don't. Last night I did, so. That was kind of all right. Not like all the time. It's just I wanted because.
Okay, is it me or Kate was dropped off there?
Hello?
Hello?
Oh, I'm sorry, I lost Bill for a minute.
Okay, I'm thinking Kate's just got knocked off the airwaves. So I'm guessing that you're still here, caller?
I'm still here.
Wonderful, wonderful.
I had two authors that I loved from over there. One was Lord Rees-Mogg, and the other one was Orwell. Orwell used to be an intelligence work, so he wrote 1984. And if you watch the video on YouTube, it is so today. He was warning us. Animal Farm, he was warning us. And people were not paying attention.
No, this is the point. That's the point. I mean, they've done everything that they can to lull you to sleep, and that's basically the problem. The majority of people are not, they're asleep, they're not awake.
A friend of mine had a lot of shows on Blog Talk. His mantra was, resistance is fertile, not futile, and he called it the board. And we would go, about 10 or 15 of us would go to all those news chat rooms where they would be telling fake history, and we would be typing in and calling in. And they felt like they were just, oh, who's all that? Some conspiracy theorists? I say, no, we're factists. Check the facts, honey. We don't. A conspiracy is when two or more people get together and do dirty, bad things. And that happens each and every day. Each and every day.
This is it. The industrial military complex for one. This is the situation. As we were just reading about Tesla's stuff.
Tesla.
Yeah,
Tesla, they hid all of his stuff and stole it to people who were willing to be bought out for money. He went up to D.C. and he wanted to give everybody free energy. But no, they weren't having no part of that. They want a monopoly. So they stole all his paperwork and had him killed up. And then they said everybody else invented that stuff that he invented. So, if you don't know your history, you're liable to believe that crap that's put on TV.
Exactly. I was just about to say, whose history? The person that wrote it or the reality of what's gone on? Because they're two different
Well, he who wins the war writes the history. And so, if folks don't know that, they don't read much.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's all hidden in books in plain sight.
Yeah, and it is. When you can look and when you can see it. I mean, it's all around you. If you look at petrol signs, for example, petrol is a form of energy. We know what petrol is. The point is, look at Chevron, Texaco, and you've got a pentacle, which is sacred geometry. You look at SO. What's the SO bit? Well, it's esoteric. In other words, all of this stuff is encoded into the actual
What are we?
paper.
Humans. We're pure energy. That's what we are. And our minds are more powerful than nuclear bombs. People don't realize that because people have been put to sleep by all the programming. And I think they need physical therapy for the brain. That's what they need. Physical therapy for the brain to reawaken their consciousness. Because our minds are very powerful. Yep,
totally. Which is why they're trying to keep us, asleep. They're using everything they can think of. From, I just had news. Kate's trying to log back in at the moment.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm just trying to get Michael in the call here. So.
But we were just saying they're using everything they can to try and keep us asleep, but it ain't working. As you can see.
And we're back.
And they're gone. No, what's really funny though is here's how badly this affects us. This is the hoot here, right? A couple of little quotes from I See You Ate a Bug, and of course Lindsay. Sound? She got nicked. That was hilarious. Weird. Ha ha ha. Kate went down the blog chute again. LOL. This is standard fare. Thanks, guys. So it's like people know that when we get buzzed, they just sit and wait for the dead air. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, we're used to this, so whatever.
Yeah. That's no biggie.
Yeah, well, we were having a great chat there while we, that's the funny thing. We were still on, but we got bumped from the board, So it's like, how you do that? That's kind of cool. New trip.
We're all still us.
Yeah.
We didn't change.
At the end of the day, no.
Absolutely.
Yes, we did. We got bumped good again. But sorry, we didn't mean to interrupt you there, Tony. I'm sure you and Kathy were on a bit of a roll there. You had a few minutes to get going.
No, we were just talking about George Orwell and the control grid and the system that is being placed upon us to blind us from the truth. And as you heard, it ain't working. So
no, it's not. It's not. Well, you see, and I'm not sure if it was. I'm not sure who I was talking about this today, but George Orwell's 1984. It's like they're trying to convince us that we're living longer when in fact we're not.
It's just like when they said they were increasing the chocolate rations when they actually decreased them.
Exactly.
Wars, peace, and they were deleting words and changing the meaning of words, and that's exactly what they're doing today.
Well, yeah, 1984 is a perfect example of a lot of the plans that were being implemented to either keep mankind asleep and just as much wake mankind up. And a lot of people are walking around. This is probably one of the reasons why I really want to stay the course of don't look at the other side as being evil. That's just a dark mirror reflection. Without that, and without what I've been through, I would not be awake to the level that I am right now. So I have nothing but gratitude. And I look at it as, well, I got that out of the way, I've got that out of the way, and all these crazy tests of the heart. Right. To keep you it's either going to make you or break you, and that's really the choice. There's your free will choice. Are you going to let it crush you, or are you going to stand up and go, nice try it again?
Exactly. There are no evil people. Good people do bad things. Yeah. And that's the truth. We're all capable of doing those things. We have free will. We have a choice. And nobody can make me hate anybody but little old me. That's the truth. I can choose to hate somebody through ignorance, apathy, or fear. But if I choose not to, they can't make me. I refuse. I'm sorry.
I do not consent. And there's an example you just said about words, right? Refuse. Everyone thinks it's to say no to something, but actually what you're doing is you're refusing. When you fuse things together, what are you doing? Right? So when they say, do you refuse a lawyer?
They won't let you now. Matter of fact, a friend of mine down in Orlando refused because he knew the law and he wanted to represent himself, and they were going to make him have a bar. I was just cracking up in court, and they were going to throw me out for laughing. You're not allowed to laugh in court even.
You got to be serious in church. The minister's up there with his, big black robe and up on his pulpit. You got to start looking at it for what it is. What were the courts in the old days, right? Who were they?
This was a trapping court, honey, and they had 4 big guys in uniforms of brutality with their hands on their guns, looking at me because I was laughing. I'm like, oh my God, I guess I better wait outside. I can't stop but laughing. I'm sorry, because y'all are funny.
I was going to say, is that gun in your holster loaded, big fella?
And they had big guys taking food out of the mouths of homeless babies. And I'm posted on there, I'm like, ooh, aren't they big, brave fellas? I went up to 2 of them, they were standing on the corner, and I asked this one guy, I said, did you hear about that lady they bashed down for singing Kumbaya? He said, she should have been home doing something more useful. I said, is that what they taught you in brutality school? I said, hey, but you need some retraining.
And by the way, are you wearing a wife beater shirt underneath that uniform there, big fella? It's again, and Kathy, I got to tell you, hon, you nailed it again. Women need to understand the power they've got, to the degree, and not abuse it. You got to find that beautiful balance. But nothing can tear a man down faster than the ridicule of a woman. That's why.
I look them in the eye and ask them why they think that's okay to beat up a helpless woman. It's not okay to beat up anybody. But when you're sitting there with somebody singing a song about love and peace, and you're bashing them in the head, how do they justify that?
And here's the real clincher. Say, did you go and tell your mom what you did today?
Yeah. I asked them questions like that, too. When they threw me out of the Walmart, I went out to the parking lot where they were collecting money for the tots, these young soldiers, and I went over and I said, well, now, when y'all go over to a foreign land and you lose an eyeball or two, make sure you're thinking about taking unlawful orders from folks, because, it could make you lose an eyeball or a limb or something,
And then it'll just end up in a dumpster.
Mm-hmm. I said, by the way, I can't donate, because then soldiers don't be over there dropping candy like they show you on TV. They're dropping peacekeeping bombs, and those people are dead, okay? So, no, I can't donate to your cause.
Yeah,
anyway.
you know, and that's it. And there it is in a nutshell again. All we have to do is withdraw our consent, withdraw our support in all ways, you know. And I got into this the other night in another show, talking to someone in the military, and you know, the saddest thing, and this is not to discredit anyone, because I mean, based on the upbringing that we've had and the training, it makes total sense, you know, from the perspective of honor, if it was really a necessary thing and if it was really a true thing that was being offered there. But what you have are individuals, especially that have, you know, went over and, you know, quote, served their flag, right? That piece of cloth that you swear allegiance to, a piece of cloth. Okay,
McDonald's has a flag. I wonder if they'll fight for them.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and then the government that they quote fought for is banks, but you know what I mean, right? We'll keep.
General wrote a book about that too. It's called War is a Racket. Now I say the general should know.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
My brother trained the National Guard, and he tried to hide from me. He's a lifeguard over in Nokomis, and he was hiding out. I said, honey, but you can't hide from me. I changed your diapers. Don't try to run away. And he had a shirt on that was beach patrol, but that ain't what he says at home. But anyway, I didn't want to tell everybody that on video.
Yeah, well, I got to tell you though, the saddest part is you've got these individuals that have been totally, you know, chewed up and spit out by the military machine, and they're still defending the military machine that doesn't care about them. You know,
no, he wasn't defending him. He knew better. He's been there. He's seen the awful, horrible things. He don't want to chat about it. But I made him think about it. And I told him Kissinger said military men are dumb, brute animals. And Obama's got him as an advisor. So what does that tell you about your commander-in-chief? They gave the Nobel Peace Prize.
I think that was Smedley Butler.
Yeah, General Smedley Butler. You're right, Tony.
Yeah. And he was before Congress. It's in the congressional records. This is not a theory. It's a fact.
Yeah. So, I mean, have a look around, people. And this is part of the solution of looking at who is supposedly, you know, pulling the strings and pushing the buttons, as it were. And you have to decide whether you're going to grant them support or withdraw it. And it's not a tough call. I had another great chat today again, getting back into the original fraud, birth certificate, which nullifies all of this crap. It's the one ring that rules them all. And I'll spend another night on that, but...
That's a good one to spend a night on. My friend was in the hospital refusing to get a birth certificate and a Social Security card for his daughter, and the nurse called the sheriff and wanted to have him drug tested for refusing. Now, the sheriff laughed at the nurse, but the nurse thought she was doing the right thing.
Yeah, and they all think they're doing the right thing when they're, you know, jabbing needles into these infants and taking them away from the mother. And there's a beautiful segue into what's going to be happening tomorrow night. Tomorrow night we have Janice Barcello coming on and talking about this very, very crime, which it is, the birthing crime, and how badly children come into this world, especially and most especially in the hospital environment. It's sterile. It's clinical.
You know what the AMA calls babies born at home? Dirty babies. I went on their page. I said, shame on y'all. How you call babies dirty? You know.
Hey, I'm a dirty baby, and I'm loving it.
Yeah. They threw me out of a clinic, too, when I was telling them, this one lady, I said, Fox News is allowed to lie. Ask me why. And I said, you don't have to get no immunizations, and they're harmful to your baby. And the nurse's eyes got big as saucers. I was there with my granddaughter, and they were trying to take her into a locked room and build a case on her and me. And I said, Janae, you go in that room. Grandma's going to jail, and I ain't playing with you. And the nurse shoved me up against the wall, and she called 911 on the grandma. I said, oh, Lord, here she goes again. 911 on the grandma. Of course, we left together. And Janae told me when they took her back there that the nurse said, I never wanted to hit somebody so bad, and I was going to pray my husband got me out of jail. Now, she admitted she wanted to beat me up. I didn't touch her. I just told her we didn't have to take the drugs they mandated. You know, they didn't own our bodies. Now I'm thrown out of the clinic. I'm like, Lord. Something wrong with this silly picture.
Nothing wrong with the picture. You just made it very clear for them, right? Just a quick note here. Swan is in the Love and Stuff room and was asking, here's a quick shout-out for everybody, especially the newer people to Skype. If you want to stop the beeps, because if I didn't set to Do Not Disturb, I would be mental at the end of every day, more so than I usually am. Just put the setting to... no problem. She just said no one can get through to her, and she's a lot of business stuff going down. Best thing then, just leave the room for now. Just leave for now, and I'll add you back when you want. Done. Solved. There we go. See, solution-based. This is how we do things, right? No harm, no foul, no... that's the thing, too, is you can't offend me. I'll just observe it and go, well, that's not something I would do, and I'll move along, right? But anyway, more solutions. Let's get into more solutions and how we can... I loved the one last night, and this is Mary from the Astro page, Astrotheology page, about seed grenades. You know, putting together a bunch of seeds. I forget what she said they used to put these seeds together. But basically, you just make a seed clump and of whatever seed you want. You know, I would suggest hemp would be a good one.
Yeah.
Apple seeds. Whatever, doesn't matter. Just start gathering the seeds up instead of throwing them away or eat them, or like you should be eating them or replanting them. But definitely a great way to keep all those state troopers happy and busy on the sides of you're traveling down the highway, throw a few mitfuls out and grow ups everywhere. Go ahead.
Well, those state troopers, a lot of them are very good people. I've seen them stopping and changing the tire of some young fellows with their pants hanging down in the heat. Only thing they show you on TV are the ones that are brutalizing folks. But every day, those officers get out and help people. And who calls the police when they're having a good time? Does anybody call and say, "Thank you, officer"? No. They call them up. And then when the officer jumps in, sometimes they want to beat them up.
Well, exactly. And again, we run both sides of that gauntlet all the time. And I know there are good... See, I'm talking my own personal experience, the ones that I dealt with where, useful idiots is the only real way I could describe them, and I guarantee you none of these kids, boys and girls, would be pulling over to the side of the road to help anybody. It's very true though. And look what the banksters do. They actually create the division by using decent, good people with good intentions, thinking they're going to be getting into something, and it's a good thing. Just leave the jarheads out of this, and here they have the people and the police pitted against each other, and the announcement just came out. I forget, someone had mentioned to me the other day saying, "Kate, you were right. I just saw this," and I said, "Yeah, well, that came out a while back. They're actively not pursuing." Or not pursuing actively any more, criminals and drug addicts for recruitment into the police.
Oh, wow. Thank God. I had one come to my house and wanted to tase me for having a Bob Marley test on my birthday. And he was actually reaching for his taser. And I'm like, "Excuse me, you're going on video now, sir." He said, "You don't have my permission." I said, "Check with the supervisor, I don't need it." His little buddy was laughing. And I didn't even have my cell phone on. I had just bought it. But I sure didn't want to get tased or anything. And when he got done harassing me, I called up the supervisor. And I asked him, I said, "What are the laws about playing music in your own, backyard?" She said, "Well, it depends on the decibels." And I didn't have it up loud at 10 a.m. And I had a 6-foot privacy fence. But the neighbor lady across the street didn't like Marley, I guess. And she had to have the other lady on the other side who was like 89 pretend like she was calling. But she couldn't even hear. All she could feel was some vibrations, and that ain't against the law. So anyway, you have to stand up for your rights, or they will trample all over you. And that's the truth.
Very true.
And even if you're afraid, I was standing there and all my grandbabies were hiding out because they were banging on the door like I was Attila the Hun. And I'm like, wow. And after he went to the back gate and opened it, I was going to video him again because he came back. My grandbaby had left the door open the night before the gate, and he said, "I see we still have a problem." I said, "I see you do. Now you're going on Facebook, buddy." And that's when I called and reported it. And I called my ex, and I told him, I said, "When you get home, you better put on your seatbelt, be on your P's and Q's, because they're going to be on us like white on rice." And sure enough, they were sitting on the corner waiting on us. And I said, "I'll let them wave real quick." I don't think they like me much.
Well, that's okay, though. You know, again, every time we have these interactions at any level, as long as you're approaching it from the peace, love, truth, and honor perspective, you've got plenty of opportunity to plant seeds. And that's the best thing we can do. And it's using these curt little anecdotes that we can throw at them, especially the bullies. You know, it's like, does your mother know you do this? You know, that kind of stuff.
This guy was a bully, and his little buddy was laughing because he said, "We've had many complaints about you." I said, "Really? You must have been derelict in your duties, because this is the first I heard about it." That's when he reached for his taser. Oh, he was mad. Oh, he didn't like one little bit. And I'm sure he got mad at his buddy because his buddy was laughing, and I bet he caught hell when he got back in the car.
Yeah. Well, and there's the thing, too. Talk about program of uniform. You know, these guys and girls get trained to a point where instead of having a rational, reasonable conversation with someone, they reach for their weapons.
Yes.
You know, you want to talk about an insecure individual. You know, well, you've heard me call, 9mm that they carry because they can't handle the 45s. I know that for a fact from some people that have actually been on shooting ranges with them. But anyway, the 9mm, I refer to that as their 9mm penis extension. And in the case of girl cops, it's like, oh, you're trying to grow one. At least you got 9mm.
I tell you what I gave Congress and the drug I gave to fix them? They have DSD, dictator syndrome disorder, and I gave them a pill. It's called Oblivital. It'll knock them out for 5 days so they can't pass any more stupid laws, and it may cause a heart attack and or penile dysfunction. But if they survive 5 days, I'm going to give some penile fix-it-all. And I posted that on the Peace Ladies page just before she kicked me off. I mean, she kicked me off because she said no statement is too radical. And she said the White House reads the page. I said, oh, goody. That's when I posted that. And I got kicked off. Go figure.
What are the odds?
Yeah, I don't think they really were too fond of me. But she got a little more radical out of that. They asked her, what has gotten into you? I told her I didn't want her job. I said, I want your job, honey. I just want some peace, okay? And you look like you need some help out there. I thought you might want some troops. I was posting this song that was America is Colorblind. And all she could see was red, white, and blue. And her eyes glazed over, and she didn't want to listen to the song.
Okay, well,
told me all weird. Mm-hmm.
Well, let's go back. Let's go back a bit to what you would deem to be your awakening. Do you have any defined moments that kind of got you looking at this place a little differently, or?
When I was born again, I was in my pool, and I asked God to take me home, and He told me. He said, Kathy, I can't do that. I have plans for you. And He said, I forgive you. Well, you have to forgive yourself. And if I can forgive you, why wouldn't you forgive yourself? That was my total awakening.
Awesome.
And I wasn't in a church. I was in my pool. Mm-hmm.
No, that's, again, we have our moments wherever we have them, eh? So.
And all my family said I was quite mad, and they tried to have me locked up. They told me I needed drugs.
What else is new?
Yeah. Whenever they can't figure out where you're coming from, you need drugs. And I had just went on a 2.5-hour swim, and I was telling them what happened out there. And my daughter's like, oh, Mom trying to kill herself. I said, what? If I was trying to kill myself, think about it. Why did I swim back to shore, okay? Anyway, there was 3 big boats out there looking at me like, what's she doing out here? And I didn't swim way out there. I was just trying to go out and see the blue water. And the current carried me out there, so I had to swim sideways to get back in. But I made it.
Awesome. Yeah, I had a little run-in like that when I was a kid in Ireland, getting caught up in tangleweed. Wasn't a lot of fun. But I tell you, the lesson I learned, though, was the more I struggled, the more it wrapped around me. And the tide was coming in, of course, and we know what that means, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I didn't
struggle. I just swam in. And after 2.5 hours, I was getting kind of tired. I asked God to give me a push, and He did.
Yeah.
And I was on shore. So it's amazing.
Yeah,
it's amazing what we can do. That's the truth.
Exactly. I was about 12 years old, so I was a decent swimmer. There was no worries there, but it was a good lesson though, because the more I struggled to swim towards shore away from where I was at, the more the stuff wrapped me, and then I finally got to a point where I just said, okay, well, just float. And as soon as I relaxed, everything just let go, and it was another little interesting epiphany moment. So,
well, you have to go sideways. You have to get out of that current that's bringing you out.
Yeah, well, no, it was tangleweed I was caught up in.
Oh, tangleweed. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was just off a bunch of rocks where a bunch of us used to swim, and when the water was a lot deeper, it wasn't that big of a bother, but because the tide was still out a fair bit, I just swam into it, and it just started, wrapping around me, right? So I thought, okay, well, there you go. And
panic. That's when people panic, and then when you relax, you can think clearly again. Your frontal cortex shuts down when you're either in panic mode or arguing, and you can't think clearly.
Yep, so, absolutely. So let's go to Michael on that one.
Oh, I'm still here. I was just listening. And
no, I was just saying that your defining moment or moments.
Oh, you mean like when you're in the weeds, like you referred to, or tangled up and
yeah.
Defining moments.
It woke you up.
Oh. It's weird because I can't pinpoint the exact, date, specific time, and all that, but it was more or less just a transitioning. It was. I feel like I've, to be honest, I feel like I've been awake all my life, but just didn't realize it until later on.
Yeah, that's the case with most of the people, and I will say probably the same for all of us here. For me, I was born awake and walking around going, what's going on here? Just constantly looking at how people were acting and reacting, and as a kid, and it didn't make a lot of sense. Adults arguing and people fighting and all the rest of it. It didn't make sense to me. I'm thinking, why can't these people just get along?
But now why you were, what made you different? At least I was thinking, I was like, wow, now, a lot of things are in perspective. It was why I was uniquely different, and.
Oh, agreed, totally. And someone else, I think it was Carol I was talking to the other day, we all talk about, being alone and not having, people, around us. And well, it wouldn't make, as I said to her, it wouldn't make a whole lot of sense if we were all, everyone that had something to do here, because you have a role. Everyone has a role to play. And those,
indeed, yes, you do. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and those that are awake and proactive, at a much more active level, have a greater role to play. Because we all have a role, and that's not to make less or more of anything. It's just, this is my puzzle piece, you have yours, and I tell people, I says, don't even think, unless you have it in your heart and mind to do what I did, don't even think about doing what I did. Because that was my job, not yours. You have yours. Go find yours, and because your piece of the puzzle is equally critical. Because one piece out of that puzzle sitting on the table, what are people going to notice first? The one that's missing. Right. So what we have to do is, regardless of magnitude, because again, magnitude is only what we're looking at the same thing to different degrees. But lesser and greater are just separated by degrees. They're both the same thing. Now. What we, those that are doing, especially like this, us in the call right now, and so many others that I've had the blessing to be around, basically came in awake to a greater degree than most others, and here we are, all over the planet, scattered like seeds, right? Mm-hmm. So I say, yeah, of course you're going to be alone because you've got a very specific role to play in your area. You're geographically where you are for a reason. Because it wouldn't make sense to clump us all in everyone's living, all the awakened are living in one city,
That's nice.
It wouldn't work.
But you're right. When you knew as a child that something wasn't right and that people were arguing didn't make sense. And my dad asked me when I was 14, what makes you think you're right and the whole world is wrong? And I didn't know. But I just knew all people were the same. They have different cultures, but they're all the same. There's no difference. And for some reason, I don't know, some people never figure that out.
Yeah, and that statement made, what makes you think that you're right and the whole world's wrong? I said, well, what makes you think the whole world's right and I'm wrong? I just throw it right back at him. What makes you think that I'm wrong?
Well, my dad wouldn't let me do that. I'd get my lips popped off. I said,
yeah, I know what you're saying. But again, that's another thing that I like to use when talking with people. They'll say, well, how do you think this and that and the other? So, well, why do you think it isn't? Make people own make them own their own statements. I
make them own their own anger, their own whatever. I don't have anything to do with what you're feeling, or doing and displaying. It's not me. That's you. It's people's reactions to other people's actions, and we get to pick how we do that. We can choose.
Yeah. And here's one, and this is something I have to work with constantly. I am a natural-born mirror for people, empath, and what happens with me... Did
you know Jesus was an empath?
Oh, really? I did not know that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because what happens with me, and I go back to Saturday night, is what I get reflected at me by anybody. It doesn't matter at any time. I will reflect back exactly what's being given to me because I treat it as a gift I don't want. So here, this is what you're trying to give me. I'm going to give it right back. I hope you don't mind. And and that's why I find a lot of times I literally just have to walk away because it's pointless and there's only so much stuff that I can transmute. I was saying to my friend Eric today that it's like trying to strain coffee. Put your coffee grounds in a cast iron pot to strain it through. And eventually it just keeps filling until it overflows, and then you have to dump the whole thing and start again with the right stuff. So that's why I just walk away.
That's the best thing to do. Did you know they called the native savages? And I've read some really wise stuff. It's called Native American Wisdom Quotes. And I had to pay for it. I couldn't find it online for free. But this one chief was saying, respect all others and trouble no man about his religion. Ooh, if that happened, peace might break out. We couldn't have that happen, could we?
Yeah, I know, and woe betide the newspapers trying to sell that headline. World peace everywhere. No more fighting, no more money, no more this, no more that. And Tony's back. He got bumped too. So, I like to feel that Tony is as afflicted on Skype as me here. So that's thanks for getting bumped, Tony. I feel better now.
There's nothing I did, I assure you.
No, I know. That's why I just feel better,
What's your address on Skype?
Oh, for me, anyone that wants to get a hold of me, it's katie.renee.thompson, KATIE.RENEE.THOMPSON, and my handle is Cygnus Trumpets, and
that's too long.
Yeah, well, no, that's just so you know if you pull up katie.renee.thompson, that's me, Cygnus Trumpets.
Okay.
Whatever.
And that's it in the UK?
No, I'm from the UK originally, but I'm on the landmass known as Canada right now.
Okay.
Yeah, so on the what they refer to as North American continent.
When people say America, they forget there's more than one, just America.
I love it. That's perfect. Yes, I live in the northern United States. They're called provinces here.
Hey, we're all fun. We're all in it for the fun here. You're not getting out of it.
I love it. That's perfect.
Life is supposed to be fun. People complicate it.
I know. They make a mess of it.
And they all want us to be one, one world, one big country, and one big everything anyway. So.
Oh, well, they crack me up on that. Illegal immigrants. They're so funny. Mm-hmm. They came over here, and this chief, he sent 12 of his best youth to the American schools. And they came back and they didn't know how to do anything. They couldn't hunt. They couldn't fish. They were insolent to their parents. And he said, well, why don't you send 12 of your best students and we'll train them in the ways of life. That never happened. All they did was murder them up. They gave us the smallpox with a big smile. That's called genocide.
Yeah, and a lot of people are working hardcore right now, and I'm getting a lot more contacts with that as well. And what's happening now is, and here's the solutions coming to light. Whenever there are actions made, regardless of the magnitude, when people see that, that's the light, right? That's the light that people need to see, and then they go, oh, I can do this, I can hand out flyers, or I can do this, and then they start taking the baby steps because someone else has taken the more aggressive steps, if you will. And
that's so true.
It's happening worldwide. I see it every day.
I'm excited about it. I'm very excited about it. I see it everywhere. And in the Bible, it talks about watching the ants and how they work together in harmony. Mm-hmm. Well, that's why they had that movie. It's in a cartoon. They didn't want one ant to stand up because they were afraid all the ants might stand up. And not realize,
that's what's happening.
They have power.
Yeah. It's a battle of the minds.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is, for hearts and minds.
Hey, Tony, you got that info that I'll let you bring it out because you were posting it earlier today, the stuff from Kevin Annett. A couple of interesting little things that have been happening there.
Yeah, it's posted on the front page. Pardon me, you caught me half chewing something.
Oh, sorry about that.
It's posted on the front page of Syncrenicity.com. So if you go to www.syncrenicity.com, Syncrenicity.com, you'll find an article there which refers to what's actually going on. I can go into more detail about it, but there's not really that much point. There's plenty of detail there from Kevin Annett, but it's breaking news on the global reclamation campaign launched as the Catholic bishops begin breaking ranks. And it's basically...
Here's one of my friends, Sherry Peterson. She's getting ready to go out mocking people on the streets who are eating fast food and drinking soda. That's too funny. I don't think she's going to have much success with that.
Yeah, keep going, Tony.
Some pictures. This one friend of mine had a big, fat giraffe, and he said, "Oh, McDonald's made it to Africa." Picture might do better.
And it's basically saying existing authority is replaced by the people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, here, let me pull up a couple of things here. There was a couple of really cool things within the release that Kevin had sent out here. And again, it is breaking the ice, lots of information. And you can go to www.itccs.org and get all these updates. But this is some beautiful information here. This is stuff to get excited about. And,
and it took us a couple of thousand years.
Yeah, there you go. Here, from the steps of the Vatican to Catholic churches in Vancouver, New York, and London, ITCCS groups commenced church occupations and the issuing of liens against Vatican property this week as part of the global reclamation campaign to enforce a common law court sentence against the heads of church and state, including the new Pope, Frankie I, Jorge, right, and Queen Elizabeth Windsor, well, we'll just call her Liz Windsor, Bergoglio Windsor and Canadian Prime Minister Stephen Harper, I always think harpies when I read that, Harper, are among those officials who have been lawfully banished from their communities and face standing citizen arrest warrants. Now, again, you know what I'm like with the legal speak, but just, take the intent out of this. It's beautiful. Now, despite a massive pro-Vatican blitz in the corporate media, Catholic bishops have begun to publicly break ranks as new divisions emerged in the church hierarchy. In Albany, New York, for example, Orthodox Catholic Bishop Timotheos, check this out, has been charged by local police after he gave out ITCCS statements to a Catholic congregation and called upon Catholics to refuse to fund the Vatican. So they arrested a bishop for actually speaking the truth. So this is how degraded these guys are. Now,
the love of money is the root of all evil, and they can't have people knowing that. And those people who are collecting...
What you've got is the people inside the organisation that are coming out and saying, oh, the organisation's corrupt.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Well, this one pastor who has an international church, and he takes funding from the government, Pastor Maldonado. He gives very great sermons, but he has an ATM in his lobby. Come on. And he has 20 bodyguards. Shouldn't God be protecting him? Why does he need some bodyguards?
Well, that's exactly it, right? Now, here's another good one. In Dublin, acting head of the Catholic Church in Ireland. Okay, read that again. Acting head of the Catholic Church in Ireland, Archbishop Diarmuid Martin, refused to comment on the claim that his office has convened a secret conference of Irish bishops to issue a home rule statement loosening their ties with the Vatican. Now, you know what happens when they, refuse to comment. That shit went down. Now, in London, high-wire protesters briefly displayed an Arrest the Pope and Queen banner from an office tower facing Parliament as other ITCCS activists served arrest warrants on the new Archbishop of Canterbury, Justin Welby, for destroying evidence of the mass graves of children at Anglican Indian schools in Canada. In Vancouver, the members of ITCCS members and local Indigenous leaders, we'll call them noble savages because that's more accurate and proper, publicly reclaimed Holy Rosary Catholic Church during Easter services. Here's a quote. This is from Cree Elder Stimas, a survivor of 2 Christian internment camps. As a survivor of Catholic genocide, I'm issuing a public lien against this building and claiming it for all Native people. I invite all our people to take over this church and use it, and I'm telling the Vancouver police they have to help us or stand aside because this is our jurisdiction. So again, this is happening in, of course, the U.S., South Africa, Poland, France, Ireland, Italy, and Germany, and I'm sure many others. So it's beautiful, beautiful information. And these are the things that are changing. These are the solutions. And guess what, guys? They're being done peacefully.
Yeah, it's a process.
Yep. Step by step, drip by drip. That's how we got into this mess, drip by drip. And what's happening now is we've collected a lot of those buckets, and we're just throwing it back by the bucket load now. So you're going to see the pendulum swinging back a lot faster than it got us in here, right?
Totally. It's got momentum, and it's coming home.
Well, such is the effect of truth, and you can't have a good wallop on the pendulum swing coming back if it isn't swinging fast. So the more the consciousness awakes, again, it's about intent, guys. It's about going out there and just doing something, anything, like you were saying about your friend Kathy. Going out and put together some information about. Take one standard Rotten Ronnie's or Burger Thing or whatever place that fast food is, pick a particular standard meal that they use, and then start listing all the poisons that are in it. And by the way, they just found human flesh. I'm not sure which, because they've been using what do they call
children?
Children, yes, absolutely. Aborted fetus for flavor enhancers.
They're
already doing that. It's
been going on for a while.
That's old.
I know it's old.
They're putting stuff in stuff at Starbucks, and when folks started posting that on the internet, they didn't want to deny it, but their stocks started going down. So you have to buyer beware. Read the labels, and they try to hide it with really good sounding names. They'll put MSG in and call it natural flavoring.
They want the population to be eating their own kids before this thing is out. That's what they want. It's not going to happen because we're going to make sure it doesn't happen. But that's right.
That's true. It's not going to happen because people base their choices off of the information they have, and they've been misinformed. One Congress lady resigned from office, and I could see the fear in her eyes. She said, people are inundated with information, but they're less informed.
Well, yeah, and again, it goes right back to the standard North American diet. You've got, the most obese people on the planet that are actually starving to death because they're not getting any nutrition. They're getting. You
know what they sell here? Iceberg lettuce, and they'll tell you don't feed it to your gerbils because it has no nutritional value, and they'll starve to death. But they feed it to people.
Yeah, and this is it. We're changing this simply by getting the word out there, and one by one. Here's the thing: we're on the air and talking, and if during the course of the whole evening, if only one individual has an epiphany of any kind whatsoever, mission accomplished.
Just one.
Thank you.
Exactly.
One will chat with another. I was talking to two young people in a checkouts done, and this older lady in front of me was talking about some song, and I was telling them, yeah, that's why they killed Bob Marley. And the two people started laughing until the fellow behind me chimed in. And then their eyes lit up, and I think they were going to do some research. They just thought I was some lunatic conspiracy nut, you know. So people are chatting and sharing. And when those two people, their eyes light up and they go do some research, they're going to share with somebody else.
Yeah, truth bombs. We got seed bombs. Let's do some truth bombs, you know. And really, it's a matter of standing in the, if you are in a checkout or something, it's a matter of just dropping something that might sound to, you know, of course, the average sleepy, outrageous. But look what happened. Someone else chimed in, because what you're going to be finding now is you're not as alone as you think you are. There are people around you.
I used to think I was alone until I got on Facebook. Then I said, hey, there's people just like me.
Yeah.
I was like, wow.
And they're in checkouts, and you'd be amazed. Yeah. All people generally need is for someone else to plant the seed, or better yet, strike the match. As soon as that match is lit, someone else goes, "Hey, well, there's someone." Yeah, and they're gonna chime in. They will. And you'd be amazed at how quickly people will gather like that. And there it is. Plant the seed.
Whenever I would go to the school to check in, my granddaughter would pick her up, I would be singing. And she said, Grandma, can you stop singing? I said, no, but you can pretend like you don't know me if you want to. Because the people were listening. Even though they weren't allowed to comment on it at the time. I'm sure they, put on their little thinking cap. Mm-hmm. And it makes them, that's what Jesus did. He didn't shun anyone. He talked to everybody. The ones that the church shunned and judged, he talked to them. And he planted little seeds. He wouldn't try to carry them. He would try to make them feel good about themselves, uplifting somebody.
Well, that's the thing, too. And when I talk about my brothers and sisters on Gaia, I always reference 7 billion. I'm not sure who I left out there. What religion?
We're all one, Yeah, we're all one in the process of, the transition is happening, Kate.
Yeah.
The process of nature. We all are nature. Yeah. And in my awakening process, the thing that hit me the most, like a ton of bricks, was that realization that I am nature. It's all around me. I'm part of it. I'm never alone. I mean, being alone
all
used to aggravate me. Right.
All of creation is nature.
And now when I'm surrounded by. Now I'm alone per se, no other humans living with me, but I have 3 cats that they're souls to me, they're part of me, they're nature, they're all, a part of this whole thing. And it's like I don't feel alone. 3 cats.
Oh, okay. Yes. They're using pets as therapy now, music and pets, instead of drugging people into slaughtering zombies. They're trying to bring them back to life with other souls around them. Did you know in Japan they have these big dolphins, and they're internationally protected, yet they're over there murdering up the dolphins and the whales, and they're putting them in food. Did you know that? And this one guy who's created that one movie, The Flipper, he's been arrested so many times because he said the dolphin was named Kathy, and they called her Flipper. But he said she committed suicide in his arms, and he's been on a campaign ever since to let people become aware. And they asked him, there's a documentary called The Cove.
Yeah,
if you
very
drove
familiar
around
with
the city, if you drove around the city, you would think people love the dolphins there. They love the money. And if you come in as an activist, and they'll ask you, are you here as an activist? Because they're not going to let you in. You have to lie and say, no. I'm not here, but they know him too well. They say, how many times have you been arrested? He'll say, you mean this year? You've been arrested many, many times. So we all have a passion about something. Yeah, and I think that's what they're trying to kill in it, our passion.
Yeah, there's a good one. Say, have you ever been arrested? Well, which month?
Or which year?
Yeah. It depends. What month are you talking about? Here, let me get my notes.
For me, it'd be which year.
The vast majority of prisoners in the U.S. of A. are there for plant. And they pay them $36 an hour. And we have for-profit prisons. Of course, they need some prisoners, and they like them nonviolent ones. They work real good. So
Yeah,
You know,
all they
people
want to
don't
do
know.
is access the SCV accounts and milk their freaking accounts.
That's it.
That's what
That's
they're
all it is.
doing, and getting slave labor in the process.
It's a double whammy.
Well, Bill Cooper wrote a book about it called Behold the Pale Horse.
Pale Horse. Yep, very familiar.
It was the most stolen book off the library shelves because the truth resonates, you know, and the poor people knew it was the truth. They knew it was the truth. But the people that are in their comfort zones, they don't want to hear the truth so much. But they might have to actually get up and do something.
Well, they're going to have to. Otherwise, there's a place called FEMA waiting for them.
Well, here's this. Daphne just posted it. Bill Cooper tried to warn us. Matter of fact, 3 weeks in advance of 9/11, he told us that was getting ready to happen. And then the sheriff shot him in the back. And Alex Jones took the credit for that morning. He's a big fat liar, and he's a New World Order Judas. So, and I know that personally. I'm not making that up.
Well, they've made, you know, there's all sorts of things we could go here, but I'm being very careful with my wordage.
Okay. Well, I know personally because I was on his show, and I called him up, and all of his friends love me. And when I waited for 2 hours to get on, I said, Alex, why don't you tell all your friends to tell the news crews we want some real news, not Brittany with no panties. And he put me on hold, and he said, now, Kathy, tell them the whole truth. They have news. And who that listens to Alex don't know that. But I couldn't chat no more. And every time I called back in, I couldn't get in no more. And I would go on his webpage. And I'm like, Alex, you say protest, but I got all these protest pictures, and there was no room on his page for the protest pictures. All he was chatting about was LeBron James. You know, something wrong with that picture. So I think and he called Bill Cooper a New World Order nutball. And Bill Cooper was as honest as the day is long. So that I'll tell you something. Figure it out.
Oh, yeah. Just a quick comment here. Just checking Facebook here. That's basically where chat happens with me these days. And we have been having, with me anyway, a few issues with the Sync chat room. So it kind of hangs my computer up. That's more to do with my computer than the site. But anyway, here's a quick little message from Randy. And I do want to touch on this one very quickly. Those of us who are solution-oriented are always on the lookout for the latest breakthrough technologies, right? So this came into his purview earlier today. It's called Intervention, Challenge the Law by Demanding Certification. And have you ever heard of this? Yeah. I've been talking about this for a while. Birth certificate, certification, yeah, that one. It's a little simpler than most people realize, right? And so he's attached a document for me to review, and I'll have a look at it for sure. There is no law. Well, yeah, I've been saying that since a year ago after I spent 28 days in solitary proving that. We're under martial law since 1861. Actually, it's been longer than that, but glad to see that it's happening. That was basically the first order, executive order from Lincoln back in 1861. And there is definitely no law, no question. For any and every codified law to be prosecutable in court. By the way, I wanted to bring this up last night. The word prosecute translates into do not pursue. You see how they're keeping themselves in honor? We have to be the ones chasing it, you see, and that goes right back to us committing the fraud by using the birth certificate our parents aided and abetted us to use to keep the system free and clear of any wrongdoing. Unfortunately, we've kind of twigged onto that, and oh well. So definitely, Randy, I will get some more information out on that. But it all, for me, it all comes right back to the birth certificate, which is certification. It's the only document the government ever gave anybody. Every other thing that we get from the government, we have to go and get ourselves. Passports, driver's licenses, Social Security, job applications, bank accounts. So if you use a name that's on the birth certificate, you're committing fraud.
That's your straw man.
That's it. You know, again, we go back to the yellow brick road, and I the last to go will see the first three go before them. So in order to pass through the door of Theos, the door of God, you must get rid of the straw man. You must fill that tin man vessel, that empty vessel, with heart, and you got to lose the fear, cowardly lion. And those are your three things that have to go first before you get through your own door of God, door of Theos. If you want, have a look, Black's Law 9th edition. you might want to adopt your full character. It's known as Toto Jeannery. Yes, Toto is in friggin' Black's Law. Promise. Okay? It's all there.
And it was encoded in The Wizard of Oz, of course, and given to us as a, allegory.
We're almost like extended slaves, like our previous ancestors then to us.
Yeah. Well, it's time to, if you want to play in the Whore of Babylon Commerce Land, then you got to start singing, oh, we, oh, okay? And that way you'll feel a whole lot better. But once the Wicked Witch is dead, what happened? What happened when the Wicked...
They try to sell white witches as a good thing. But
they
there's
celebrate
no such thing.
No, listen.
Yes, what happened when the Wicked Witch of the West was finally killed? All the soldiers that were chasing Dorothy and Toto and the three friends of hers all celebrated and gave her gratitude. You see, those that are the most enslaved are the ones that think they're in control and in power and think they're free. That's why we're here to rescue them, not the other way around. So shall we stop beating up the 5-year-old mentally handicapped children, please?
Thank you. Please, yes.
There's no solution in beating a 5-year-old mentally challenged child. There is only hate.
They label humans, but we're not allowed to label GMO-modified crops. Problem, and the citizens who got together for honest labeling, they were told they couldn't label the crops. And you know why? Because crooks don't want everybody knowing they're crooks, and they don't want everybody to not buy their poison, so...
Well, the easy answer, hey, Kathy, the easy answer to that is start growing your own. Stop going to the grocery store. I know that. This is not for you. There's thousands of people listening, so this is for everybody. Start growing your own. Hemp, whatever you want to grow. Hemp is actually the best vegetable on the planet. It's the most healthiest for you.
Even though they've made it illegal in 10 states to collect rainwater and grow tomatoes.
See, I don't understand illegal. I don't understand it either. It's unlawful. Kathy, I'll take it at face value. Illegal. Yeah, it is a sickness. I'm not sick anymore. I'm healed. And I stand in natural law, and quite frankly, I didn't see the act that was attached to every seed. The act is contained within the seed. All you got to do is plant it. And that's what we do. Again, and I really avoid as much system speak, fear porn nonsense as I possibly can, dealing with solutions, because we can talk about all their garbage all day long, and that's their illusion. I don't buy it.
That is their illusion. So and that's why I told everybody, when they crash the system, we should have a party. Because then, what's the big deal?
Well, the system's coming down. There's no question.
Yeah, no, they've already written it. It's coming down. That's a fact. It's going to come down, and people need to get ready to be self-sufficient. And if they're not doing that right now, they haven't been paying attention.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, and
so what you're doing is great, and informing people with humor. Do it everywhere you go.
Well, that's all I ever do. I've been on stage my whole life, and a lot of times in the middle of songs, people say, "You should be doing stand-up." I says, "Well, no, I prefer just doing songs, thanks. So I'll crack a joke in between every so often, just to have fun with it." But Michael, you and your co-host are doing a show later, yes?
Yes, we are at 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and there'll be a link probably on my Facebook for that. But I wish I could say go to www.toxicrealityradio.com, but it's
We'll tell you what, Michael. If you can get the links to me, we'll get it out to lots of people. Because right after this show, an hour after this show, Santo goes on American Freedom Radio to do his Monday nights for a couple of hours, and that'll line up perfectly with 9 p.m. Pacific, because that makes it midnight here.
Yeah, some it's really late, but
well, what time is it in the UK right now, Tony?
It's now 37 minutes past 1 in the morning.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, so and you're on the left coast, so that puts you 3 hours behind me. So you're 8 hours behind Tony. So you see how we cover the planet in real time?
Oh yeah, it's amazing. I mean, the whole world's a stage. They say, and right now more so than ever. I mean, this is like an incredible, amazing time in history, I believe.
It is.
This is the point. The whole world is a stage. I mean, famous people have said it. Shakespeare, whatever. It could be Einstein, I don't give a shit. But the point of the matter is, the whole world is a stage. NASA is a stage. What we're taught is a stage. The TV is a stage. The radio, the magazines, the papers, they're all stages.
Yeah, it's a play. It's a movie. It's just a ride.
Can you find your place in the play? And that's what it is. This is where the mirror gets reversed, right? There was an excerpt from a book I posted on Facebook. I'm going to post it again. A beautiful excerpt. It'd take me a while just to find it again, but it in a very few paragraphs, it outlines exactly what we're talking about and how to reverse that. And I've talked about getting on the other side of the looking glass, well, for a lifetime, to myself mostly. But, it is, we're on the wrong side of the looking glass here. And while we're looking out, blaming everything outside of us and oh, woe is me and all the rest of it, hey, I've done it. Still do it on occasion, but I check myself in it now. And then the fact is, checking yourself when you're doing something that is part of the program is great therapy, and it's also adding to your own level of awakening. Fact is, when you're looking outside of yourself for answers, you'll only find a loop. The answers are within. The outside realm that you see is going to adjust according to how you adjust you. And I know that sounds very outrageous and totally against everything we've ever taught, but that is fact. This is a mental universe. And I'm starting to really finally experience that because I had to come through my own tornado. I had to have my own house come crashing down on the Eastern knowledge called the Witch of the East, right? I've walked the yellow brick road, and I've picked up lots and lots of Hansel and Gretel breadcrumbs along the way that were left there from the future to the past, present. So you got to get out of the now and into the present, start seeing this. It is a beautiful tapestry. We have infinity, guys. It'd be awful boring if we had it all figured out, So.
No,
we will always be human, but we are knowing what human means.
Yes, beautiful. Michael, make sure you get me the links for your show. And,
I definitely will.
I'll be up and listen for sure. Absolutely.
I'll keep up the good work. I gotta go.
Oh, okay, Kathy. Well, yes, thank you so much for popping in. Wonderful to chat, love.
Okay, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
You too. Cheers, Kathy.
Yeah, and again, thanks again for allowing me to be on the forum with you tonight. So. Well,
thank you for allowing me to invite you.
I always feel just at home when I'm around like-minded individuals.
Well, you are.
Night.
That's the thing, and this is part of our mission as well in the great collective, in making a home for others, where they can feel comfortable and where they know that when they share something, they're sharing it with like intended beings, and it's a very comfortable feeling, especially for all you Cancerians out there, I say that because I bring first deacon I bring Cancer in because I'm third deacon Gemini, so I pull that aspect in, right? So I'm a very homebody, and very driven that way. So as mental as I am, right? You can take that whatever way you want personally, so it don't matter to me.
But it's still good to talk to somebody who actually knows the same sort of levels of information that we're referring to. That's the point, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, well, yeah. Oh, yeah. You feel a whole lot better, sitting around a group of people going, yeah, instead of screw off, shut up,
talking shit, and you got your head up there. Yeah, exactly. The government loves you, you bastard. Yeah.
Eat some more. You want?
Yeah, fucking aspartame's brilliant. Fucking
embalm yourself early. Drink aspartame. It turns into formaldehyde in your stomach. Lucky you.
What's the matter? You get preserved. What's the problem with that?
And it's the human being. It's the human being. All of us probably that just we. Damn it! Having this heart. I know. I feel for them. Even the most. I can be going through the most of my life, and I'll still reach down to help somebody. Or toss them a coin. Yeah, it's just my nature. That's the one thing people are trying to escape their nature and conform to this system that really does nothing but that. Just basically takes nature and just destroys it, which includes us because we are nature. And people just say that. It's like, here's how you're being destroyed. If you want to know how to help yourself and others around you, join in. If not, continue to be, tortured and miserable, and you think you're happy with the cars and everything and all the monetary things. I know firsthand that's meaningless.
Yeah,
totally.
Yes, people. Life is a spectator sport, right? Is that how you want to live it? Sorry, little sarcasm. Sorry.
I'm the same way. I feel so comfortable with you, Kate, because we share in that sarcasm. We have to. It's our nature. But hey, it's like you got to take the good with the bad in everybody. Biggest challenge for me, I will admit, because a lot of times, when my wife and I were together, she would constantly put that hand in my mouth. We're in a checkout line or somewhere where I just lose patience, and my Ariesness would come out in me to, just damn the whole store. I commence all of you to being idiots forever, and
Yeah, absolutely.
There's moments, when you're out and about, and you have to mingle with them, but it's a challenge only because we're learning. We're always going to be learning. That's the most amazing thing. I don't want to pass away tomorrow. I want to be granted hopefully more years on this planet so I can experience the change that's happening now. It's amazing. The minority will not be, and that's what they're are right now. People at the top are just scrambling. They just want to kill everybody, and because some of their minds are changing. And we got stuff happening at the top right now with just a lot of shenanigans happening. It's just what used to be your right hand man, that carried out the orders is now having sex. Why? Because he's changing.
Yep. Consciousness is awakening. And I just want to do a bunch of shout-outs here because I love when people are tuned in. No problem, Randy. Definitely we'll hook up and get chatting here. Big shout-out to, I'll go down the list here. These are just a few of the messages I got. Randy, of course, and Catlin. Cat, love you. And Susie Cat, you just rock the world there, taking the bull by the horns. Hey, Michael, how are you? I just got your message. Haven't had a chance to get to it yet. And Guadalupe just got yours too. And beautiful. Joe, Donna, Susanna, Kat, Claire. Big shout out to the Birmingham Truth Juice group. I know they're generally tuned in on the show. So big shout out to Birmingham. Well done. Take on the planet, and you'll only have us standing with you. Suzanne and Jenna and Jack and so many others. The list goes on and on and on and on. So
Totally. Laura Ann,
Yeah, Laura. Oh man. Honestly, I feel. You know what it feels like? It feels like a telethon.
Yeah.
Everyone's name going across the screen, and Donna donated love today, and Joe donated love today. That's the artillery, baby.
Hey,
that's
everybody donated love today. That's why they're here.
Absolutely. That's the shit that changes universes. And speaking of, it's starting to snow again. Damn. Anyway.
And back to that cliche before, forget what is, love's a powerful thing.
Oh, hugely. Conquers all, It is the only force in this universe that creates this universe. So when you get in the groove and stop treating life as a spectator and start getting involved, you can sit back with your remote, or you can sit on the sidelines and watch everybody else having a great time and saying, oh, you know what I would have done there, and you know what I would do? Well, get out and do it.
Yeah.
How many times do you find yourself after a situation going, I should have done this better and I should have done that? Well, start doing that with life.
Yeah. No regrets.
No regrets.
And I have to really, that goes for me included, because, I shy away, from a lot of stuff that I know that I should be more involved in, and even more just beyond radio, just, a lot of other things.
I totally agree.
But it's happening.
Well, this is it. You're being told there. You're saying to yourself, I know I should be more involved with radio.
Yeah.
Did you
so
just
much more
not
to
say that?
Oh, yeah. Well, more than just radio, more than just, there's lots of things to get involved with, but,
Well, here's the thing. Just the fact that you're hanging out tonight with us, and you're welcome anytime, that. Everyone is. what has happened now is, instead of it just being, say, a fireside chat with Tony and myself and listeners or whatever, here we have a fireside chat with another radio host from another station that is uploading right now into the Akashic. So now we've went from 2 to 3 to, well, there's thousands. And everything that we share that resonates with people out there, and that's all we're trying to do. It's, every show I'm going to go back to Mark Passio. I love this line. When asked about, I don't believe that, and he just answers, well, truth doesn't require your belief.
Yeah, I love that one.
Oh, that is such a beautiful truism, and it's so true. Yeah. It's pure fact, and people just have to start realizing what that beautiful teacher said. God is light, ye are light, ye are gods, and you can do better things than I. And that's been the message from all different levels. You go back to Hare Krishna, Zoroaster, Ahura Mazda, all the teachers, Buddha, Gautama Siddhartha. You go through all these teachers, and they're telling you the same thing. Hermes Trismegistus, Thoth, whatever. Are you getting it yet? I mean, the message is there. This is about coming into your own empowerment, and you do that with baby steps. It's like you got someone that's working in a garage working on lawnmowers, a 2-stroke engine. You're not going to take
the lawnmower man.
Yeah, exactly. You're not going to take him or her, whatever the case may be, and move them into Boeing 747 jet engine construction. Right. You got to do it in steps, and the desire has to be there. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to be at a certain level with the right intentions. It's your life. You picked your design, and it's in the stars. You want to see?
Yeah, I mean, the evil doer had him, had us from birth, So that's quite a task to, unindoctrinate all those years of brainwashing and,
Yeah, it's been
easy.
It's been a cradle to grave game, and they got us literally out of the gate. We just got outside the box, and now we're trapped inside the box, so we have to get outside the box again. So it's a rebirthing over and over and over in a fractal infinite sense. And we do that one step at a time. Yeah. And don't take too big a step, because I don't want you tripping. I don't want you falling. I know how big a step I can take, and everyone out there knows how big a step they can take. It doesn't matter how big or how small it is. There is no such thing as an insignificant step. Everything moves you forward.
I would like to add as well, I've got a big shout out of respect now for, you've hit it on the head there with what's just been said. We have got billions of Christians and billions of Muslims out there that have been following those religions repeatedly and repeatedly. Okay, there are people now that are going into mosques and they're actually talking to the imams of the mosques and attempting to explain what this point of view, in other words, the one that Kate and I are explaining, really means to the faith and to the religion. So I would like to put a shout out for Ray, who's been involved in that. Ray knows exactly who he is, and also Tony Farrell. Tony Farrell was one of Yorkshire Police's, is it Yorkshire, or was it the Met?
I think it was Yorkshire. I think it was Yorkshire.
No, Ray, I'm pretty sure Ray was Yorkshire and Tony was Met.
Okay.
But anyway, the other way.
Doesn't matter, they stood up. They stood.
They stood up. They stood up and they went, no, this is bang out of order. This is not the truth. You're trying to twist the information. Anyway, the point is these guys now are going out on a limb, and it's all out of their own pocket. They're going into the mosques, and they're going into talking to the imams, and they're talking to the congregations, and they're saying, hey guys, we need to let you know some information, and this is the information we need to let you know. And they're gently educating these people. Okay, so big respect out there to Ray Savage and to Tony Farrell that are out there doing this stuff. God bless them.
Absolutely, and there's the critical point right there, and I can't say this enough. I'll talk for me here. When I speak of religions, I'm speaking of the institution, not the beautiful people that have been, part of these institutions. Because the truth of the matter is, people searching for spirituality don't have many places to go to shop.
They're trapped.
They're trapped from birth, and depending on who what your parents' religion was, is what you're going to be, or at least brought into. So it is a circular trap, and it's a very difficult program to get out of. And what we're doing, and what we're trying to do, is to expose the most beautiful truths that were hidden within the books that are in those religions. And here's what happens with people. This is the perfect double trap. Someone goes in, gets into, it doesn't matter, Christianity, Judaism, Muslim, whatever. They get very, very devout, and the message is ringing. The truth of what's going on is ringing true in their hearts, and then all of a sudden they get disillusioned from it, and they start seeing things that they don't like, and the way people are acting, and then they wake up to a certain level, and they bolt from these institutions, and they leave behind them the books.
Yeah.
So not only they're trying to indoctrinate with the wrong interpretations of the Bible or the Quran or any books. When people bolt from the institution, they leave behind the book that they should have taken with them and learned how to read. Because I got to tell you, the truths that are in them are just mind-blowing once you see them.
True. I think it was Jordan Maxwell that said a statement once. Everything that you thought you knew, was true, is the opposite. It's just you almost have to put yourself, open your mind up big enough to just swallow that one. Everything, not just some, not just part, everything. I mean, when I started doing that, I was just like, wow, then I ask questions to myself: what about this? What about that? Or how is this? And why would they do that? And And I thought, no.
Yep. Totally.
Yeah, I think to sum up what you were saying there. Sorry, just one quick thing, Tony. That you were saying there with regards to forget everything you ever thought was true. I think for most people listening, this might resonate with you as far as trying to explain that defining moment that you awoke. And for me, it was really the final aspect of it was taking to heart, realizing that everything I ever thought I knew was wrong. Reboot.
Yeah.
Well, I'd just like to take that. I suppose I'm really stretching it here, but I'd like to take it one step further. Yes, I agree, exactly. But if you imagine the brightest thing in the universe out there are the stars. And what are the stars? Well, the stars are suns. And what's inside the suns? The reality is, inside the suns, at the center of each sun, is a black hole. It's the mirror opposite. As above, so below.
Well, it has to be. As within, so without, So, and just to let you guys know, we got about 3.5 minutes here until we roll off the air. But do want to do a beautiful shout-out and thank you to Paul, Lisa, and the crew at Critical Mass Radio. You can visit the main site at criticalmassradio.co.uk, and they've got a wonderful chat room there. We run parallel with our sister station. Actually, it's our mama station. We're the prodigal child, the rebellious aspect of Critical Mass.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'll be sure to mention Critical Mass Radio tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And don't forget, give me the links for Toxic Reality Radio, and let's get a bunch of people over having a listen to what I know will be just a beautiful, laid back, get the job done, peaceful revolution. And that's what we're dealing with here. And this is what I'm so proud of humanity for right now, is everything is being done peacefully.
Right.
We're not buying the lie anymore, guys. We're not going ego, anger, and going out and banging our what do you call it, spears on our shield like madmen and mad women. We're finally coming to terms with the fact that we change this world with our hearts, not with guns and not with violence and what have you. We withdraw our consent. We withdraw our contract because we know it was fraud from the get-go, and that's the only place I am going to stand at the end of every day, and my mirror is going to be my judge, where no one can offend me. Tracy had mentioned a little post earlier. No, sorry, I cannot be offended. I simply move on. What I can be is I can be a real stick in the mud when it comes to exposing nonsense, and that's effectively where I am. And I live in the moment, for the moment, in the present, because that's where you're supposed to be. And once I leave that moment, well, I'm in the new one now, aren't I? There you go. No harm, no foul.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, we got a minute and a half, guys. So wrap up, and any information you can share, Michael, for your show, that'd be great.
Yeah, and I will. I would definitely get over those links as soon as Adam sends them over. I wanted to end everything with was that, again, thank you all, and this whole movement is just an amazing time in history. I'm happy to be a part of it, and we'll continue on.
Yep, no argument for me. Sorry about that. You're only going to get agreement. We do this together, guys. This is how we do this. This is how we're doing it, and it's how it's been done. And that's the one thing, I know that's the one thing that the principalities that would love to keep everything in slavery and the way they like it, that they are terrified of. This is the gathering of angels. This is the ant story, okay? And look how many ants are awake now. They don't stand a chance, never did, never will.
That's right.
So there you go. Thanks to all the listeners, guys. You are the ones that are making the difference. You are the ones that are the intent of this universe. So stand together and let's we got her done, so let's get her done some more. It's working great. So much love to everybody.
Yep.
Tony?
God bless. Thanks for listening.
All right.
Peace and love.
Peace and love. All right. That's that. That's a wrap. We just went off the air. So, Michael, thank you so much for chiming in and sitting in with us tonight. And anytime, hey, all you got to do is tag me if you're bored and you want to just sit down on a show and throw your 2 cents, 50 cents, $1.50. Freedom's worth $1.05, right?
The same back to you, brother. I mean,
yeah, absolutely. Not a problem.
I'm glad I had the opportunity to. I've been wanting to for a while now, because I tune in from time to time, so I was just like, man, I really need to contact Kate, and I felt compelled. It's just again, nature is doing its magic on this planet.
Well, that's the thing about. Oh, what's that, Tony?
We need to have a chat. You know what I'm saying about the way things are, and just bring each other up to date a little bit about where we're at. Yeah.
Hey, Tony, by the way, I got your Facebook thing, and I'll as soon as I'm on it, I'll look again. And if we're not already friends on there,
we are.
I'll add you. Oh, we are. Okay, great.
Oh yeah. Oh, and the chat room or the Skype room was just nuts in here.
I wasn't able to get in, Kate. I think when I left the room earlier, I thought I was just leaving out of the room, and I just left the group. It said.
Oh, okay. I'll toss you right back in. You'll probably want to be on Do Not Disturb for the most part, because this is a crazy busy room. There's between 200 and 300 people in there, and they're really starting to light up. So I'm just going to toss you right back in there 1 sec.
Yeah, most of the time it's just a hello from me or a smiley face, but I obviously when I'm listening or talking, I can't,
Well, there you go. You're right back in there, and just set to Do Not Disturb. That's what we all do. Otherwise, the beeps drive us mental. But anyway, we'll wrap this up and get off the air here. We're still recording, and wow, it was just great to have you guys. Awesome, and solutions abound, and we get her done. And the story.
Thank you.
All right. Take care of you. Hang on. Well, you're not going anywhere until I hang up. So.
Oh, okay.
It's all good. Don't worry, I'll end her here for you. Thanks again, everybody, for tuning in tonight to Outside the Box Open Forum Fireside Chat with yours truly, Kate of Gaia, Tony Z, and of course Michael Cooley. And we'll catch you guys tomorrow night. Janice Parcello and all the information on birthing, and we got lots of really cool stuff coming at you. So much love to all. Take care, and good night.
God bless.
Night.